Free folk and kneelers are more alike than not, Jon Snow. Men are men and women are women, no matter which side of the wall we were born on. Good men and bad, heroes and villains, men of honour, liars, cravens, brutes. We are plenty, as do you. Val to Jon Snow. A Dance with Dragons, Chapter 21, Jon 5. Beyond the wall dwells several distinct groups of people, each with their own customs and practices, that all descend from the first men. The men south of the wall, for the most part, call them Wildlings. This name, however, is one they do not claim for themselves. The largest and most numerous of these northern people call themselves the Free Folk, believing that their way of life grants them freedom unknown to the so-called kneelers of the south. Indeed, it is true that the Free Folk live without lords or kings, priests or maesters. No man among them must kneel or swear fealty to another. Yet, like many things in life, opportunity comes with a cost, and in the case of the Free Folk, their freedom comes with some harsh costs. They are not free from hunger, nor from the biting cold, nor from the cruelties of their own kind. Their lives are marked by constant struggle against the elements, against each other, and against the terrors of the haunted forest, and the darkness within the lands of always winter. To those of the Seven Kingdoms, the lawlessness beyond the wall is nothing to be envied in the slightest. Many rangers of the Night's Watch have written grim accounts of the savagery and hardship they have witnessed. The Wildlings take pride in their meagre possessions, their stone axes, wicker shields, and mangy pelts. This in turn only deepens the divide between them and the more civilized realms to the south. Like the first men people of the Northern Kingdom south of the wall, the countless tribes and clans of the Free Folk continue to worship the old gods of the first men and the children of the forest and the nameless spirits of the weirwood trees. Their faith endures unbroken, untouched and untainted by the septs and idols of the Seven. Some call it the purest form of worship. Some tales speak of wider beliefs among certain tribes, of dark gods beneath the Frostfangs, or spirits of snow and ice worshipped among the frozen shore, or even of a crab god ventured at Storod's Point. Yet, such claims remain unverified, drawn mostly from hearsay and travellers' tales, and from any really reliable accounts. The Wildling raiders harry the realms of men chiefly in search of iron and steel metals that they cannot smelt or forge themselves. Many among them wield weapons of wood, bone or stone, and even some bronze blades are prized as treasures. The greatest of their war leaders often bear steel arms, stolen from fallen rangers of the Night's Watch, trophies of blood and defiance. Rangers of the Night's Watch speak of stranger tribes still dwelling in the far reaches beyond the wall, bronze-clad warriors hidden in remote northern vales, the Hornfoots, who go unshoed even across the ice and snow, and the wild people of the frozen shore, who live in huts of ice and race sleds drawn by hounds. Other clans make their homes deep within the caverns, and grim tales whisper of cannibals haunting the upper courses of the frozen rivers. Few rangers have ever ventured more than 50 leagues into the haunted forest, and even fewer still have returned to tell the tale. What they have seen suggests there are more peoples and mysteries beyond the wall than we even dare to imagine. Hardhome was once the only true settlement of note north of the wall, a thriving port nestled along Storod's Point. It's a deep water harbour, offering refuge and trade to the Free Folk. Yet, roughly 6,000 years ago, the town met a mysterious and terrible end. Its buildings burned, its people wiped out, and no clear cause ever confirmed. Accounts differ. Some blame cannibals from Skegos, others slavers from across the narrow sea, while the most chilling tales come from the ships of the Night's Watch sent to investigate. The crews reported inhuman screams echoing from the cliffs above, though no living soul was found amidst the ruins. The most complete study of Hardhome's fate is Maester Willis's Hardhome, an account of the 3 years spent beyond the wall among savages, raiders, and woods witches. Willis had journeyed there aboard a Pentoshi trader, earning the protection of Gorm the Wolf, one of the chieftains who ruled Hardhome. When Gorm was killed in a drunken brawl, Willis was forced to flee for his life, eventually reaching Old Town, where he wrote his account. Not long after his work was published, Maester Willis vanished. The last report of him placed him at the docks of Old Town seeking passage aboard a ship for Eastwatch by the sea, never to be seen again. A dog can herd a flock of sheep, but free folk, well, some are shadow cats, and some are stone. One kind prowls where they please and tears your dog to pieces. The other will not move at all unless you kick them. Mance Rayder to Jon Snow. A Dance with Dragons Chapter 21. Jon 5. The threat posed by the wildlings to the Seven Kingdoms is generally minimal, except in those rare ages when they unite beneath a single leader, a self-proclaimed king beyond the wall. Many raiders and war chiefs have sought this title, yet very few have truly claimed it, and none have built a lasting realm. These so-called kings, in truth, are warlords, driven not by governance or care for their people, but ambition and fire, seeking to tear down the wall and invade lands south. According to ancient legend, the first king beyond the wall was Joramun, who boasted of possessing a horn capable of bringing down the wall itself by waking the giants from the earth. That the wall endures to this very day casts doubt on both Joramun's claim and perhaps even his very existence, though his name still echoes in wildling songs and northern tales. Around 3,000 years ago, the brothers Grendel and Gorm ruled as joint kings of the free folk. In a daring assault, they led their host beneath the earth, navigating a complex labyrinth of subterranean tunnels that wound beneath the wall, allowing them to emerge unseen in the north. In the battle that followed, Gorm slew a king in the north of House Stark, only to be killed in turn by the king's heir. Grendel and his surviving followers fled back into the very same caverns, never to be seen again. Among the wildlings, legends claim that Grendel and his people became lost in the dark, endless tunnels beneath the wall, and still wander there to this day, their spirits trapped underground. The Rangers of the Night's Watch, however, tell a grimmer tale altogether, that Grendel was slain, and only a handful of his warriors lived long enough to flee into the depths. The centuries that followed produced other would-be kings beyond the wall. The Horned Lord, whose true name has been lost to time, is said to have used sorcery to pass the wall, 1,000 or perhaps 2,000 years after Grendel and Gorm. Later still came Bael the Bard, the most celebrated of these wildling kings. His songs and exploits are still sung among the free folk, though the maesters south of the wall doubt his existence. The Chronicles of Winterfell make no mention of him, perhaps as some suggest because of the humiliation he dealt to the Starks, including the tale of how he stole a Stark maiden, fathering her a child before vanishing back beyond the wall. Whether Bael the Bard was a living man or merely a legend born of song, his name endures, where many true kings are forgotten. The last king beyond the wall to lead a host south of the wall was Raymun Redbeard, who united the wildlings in around 212 AC. It was not until 226 AC, however, that Raymun and his vast host succeeded in breaching the wall, scaling its sheer frozen face by the thousands and descending into the north. Raymun's army, said to have numbered in the tens of thousands, advanced as far south as Long Lake, where they were met by the forces of Lord Willem Stark and Lord Harmond Umber, known as the Drunken Giant. Trapped between two northern hosts and the frozen lake at his back, Raymun Redbeard fought fiercely, slaying Lord Willem before falling in battle himself. When the Night's Watch finally arrived, too late to take part in the fighting, they were led by Lord Commander Jack Musgood, once called Jolly Jack, but ever after known as Sleepy Jack Musgood for his tardiness. Enraged by the slaughter, Arthur Stark, brother to the slain Willem and famed as the fiercest warrior of his age, ordered the Black Brothers to bury the dead. This duty, at least, the Watch performed faithfully and well, honouring both the fallen Northmen and the wildlings who had perished at Long Lake. I met some wildlings when I was a boy. They were fair thieves, but bad hagglers. One of them made off with our cabin girl, and in all they seemed like any other men, some fair, some foul. Davos Seaworth to Maester Pylos. A Storm of Swords, Chapter 63. Davos 6. The countless tribes and clans each had their own unique customs, beliefs, and ways of life. There is no single ruler or unifying law among them. Some groups recognize chieftains, clan mothers, or magnars as leaders, while others exist in a constant state of rivalry and warfare, fighting both outsiders and one another. In free folk culture, a person's word carries great weight. A man who breaks his oath is held in deep contempt. Their society prizes individual freedom above all else. Each clan defines its own code of honor and conduct. The ways of living among the free folk are as varied as the lands they inhabit. Many dwell in small forest villages, such as White Trees, or in fortified halls like Craster's Keep and Ruddy Hall. The Thens live in isolated, well-ordered valleys in the Frostfang mountains, maintaining a more disciplined and hierarchical structure. Other groups are nomadic hunters and wanderers, surviving by their wits and moving with the seasons. The Hornfoots go barefoot even on ice and snow. The Nightrunners, who move by darkness, are rarely ever seen in daylight. The people of the frozen shore live in huts of ice and travel by dog sled. The cannibal clans along the ice river, feared by all, and the cave dwellers who make their homes in the deep caverns beneath the Frostfangs. The free folk also have a concentration of skinchangers and wargs, in other words, those able to bond with and control animals. They are respected and accepted among the free folk far more readily than in the Seven Kingdoms to the south, where such powers are often met with fear or suspicion. In death, the free folk burn their dead, believing it's the only sure way to keep their loved ones from rising again as wights, under the power of the others. The free folk preserve many of the ancient traditions of the first men, keeping alive their old ways of worship, speech and song. Though many can speak the common tongue used throughout the Seven Kingdoms, a number of languages are still spoken beyond the wall, most notably among them the old tongue of the first men, which remains in daily use among certain clans, especially the Thens, who have preserved it most faithfully through the centuries. Music also plays an important role in free folk culture. Their songs and ballads are as varied as their people, sometimes bawdy and rough, other times haunting and as old as the frost itself. The subject of these songs draws from their history and legends, celebrating both myth and hardship. As the free folk have very little written history, it is thought the songs that are their history are passed down from generation to generation. Among the well-known are the Winter Rose, a song of love and loss beneath the snow; the Horn of Winter, telling of a legendary horn to wake the giants and bring down the wall; the Red Raven, a ballad of prophecy and blood; the Last of the Giants, lamenting the passing of the great beings who once roamed the north. Above all others, the songs of Bael the Bard, the free folk's greatest minstrel and trickster hero. They are said to be known by every man, woman and child beyond the wall, no matter their clan. Their music is accompanied by the simple but stirring instruments, drums, pipes and other rustic tools that carry far across the frozen lands. Even Mance Rayder, the current king beyond the wall, was said to be a gifted singer, able to perform not only in the common tongue, but also in the old tongue of his people, binding the clans together through melody and memory. These are free folk indeed. The Thoughts of Jon Snow, A Storm of Swords Chapter 7, Jon 1. The free folk hold a deep and enduring hatred for the Night's Watch, far greater than the resentments towards the Northmen of the Seven Kingdoms. To them, the black-clad brothers are keepers of their prison, the ones who bar their passage through the wall, and send armed rangers to intrude upon their lands. Because of this, crows, as the free folk call members of the Watch, are seldom shown any mercy. A brother of the Night's Watch captured beyond the wall can expect no quarter unless he renounces his vow and proves his defection through word and deed. Notorious wildling leaders such as Atheling Crowkiller and the Weeper are counted among the Watch's fiercest foes, while rangers such as Corin Halfhand are equally reviled among the free folk. for his relentless pursuit of their bands. Yet despite generations of bloodshed and mistrust, there have been moments of uneasy cooperation. The Watch and the Free Folk sometimes trade at Eastwatch by the Sea, exchanging goods and necessities in quiet defiance of their enmity. Stranded or wounded brothers of the Watch on rare occasion have received aid from the Free Folk. The Watch has been known to raise the children of Wildlings within the ranks of the Watch, giving them a new life in black. Beyond their conflicts with the Watch, the Free Folk are far from united amongst themselves. Raids and skirmishes between clans are common, with Nightrunners clashing against Hornfoots, the men of the Frozen Shore feuding endlessly amongst themselves. In truth, they are a fractured and warlike people, bound not by laws or lords, but by harsh struggle to survive in an unforgiving land beyond the wall. In this fiercely independent culture, women stand as equal in battle, unbound by their gender role that shapes life in the Seven Kingdoms. Those who take up arms are known as spearwives, and they are renowned for their courage, endurance, and ferocity, matching the men of their clans in both skill and savagery. To the Free Folk, strength and spirit, not birth and gender, determine a warrior's worth. Marriage among the Free Folk reflects their raw, untamed view of freedom and strength. It is expected that a man will steal his bride, seizing her from her home or clan to prove his courage and desire. The woman, for her part, is expected to fight her captor fiercely, for a union without struggle is thought to lack passion and worth. A true man, it is said, takes his wife from afar, strengthening bonds between clans through the risks of raid. However, stealing of another man's wife is strictly forbidden and considered an act of deep dishonour. Though their customs are harsh, they are bound by taboos. Incestuous unions between close kin are believed to offend the gods, cursing such families with weak and sickly children. In this way, even in land ruled by strength and survival, the Free Folk hold on to ancient notions of balance and reverence for the unseen powers that shape their world. Among the Free Folk, life beyond the wall is fraught with hardship, and infant mortality is tragically common in the unforgiving cold. Because of this, it is considered ill luck to name a child before the age of 2, as many do not survive their first winters. To give a name too soon, the Free Folk believe, tempts fate and invites loss. Until a child reaches an age deemed safe for naming, parents bestow a milk name, a temporary nickname used in place of true names. These milk names are often affectionate, practical, or descriptive, drawn from the child's appearance, temperament, or circumstance of birth. Only when a child survives to see their second year is a true name given, often marked by a small feast or gathering of kin. This custom reflects the stark realities of Free Folk life, where survival itself is achieved worthy of celebration, and naming is something to be earned through endurance.